I'm a Pima Indian from Arizona. This song is about a dream a man had. He was once caring for his cows, and he left them out to pasture, and he fell asleep under a tree. And he dreamed about some certain ant people that came out of a cave and carried him up from the bottom of this little hill into the cave. And when he woke up, he heard beautiful music like a cane reed flute playing. And when he opened his eyes, he looked up and noticed he was inside a cave where they had honey dripping off the wall. And he heard beautiful music. And as he looked, he saw a whole beehive of bees working, making honey to make wine, which was a rain-making ceremony. But he had awoken before he could get a taste of the honey or the wine. And from that dream, he made this song. It's called Nana Kamara Ke, which means the bat's cave. Nana Kamara hey, heaven is in your Nana Kamara hey, heaven is in your down my move body now right down. Down my food down. Bow by a cool quick double for a guide your town. Nana Murake, Sivani Kinyo, Nana Murake, Sivani Kinyo, down my hamu body now fight down. Down my food down. Bow by a cool quick double for a guide your town. Nana Murake, Sivani Kinyo, Nana Murake, Sivani Kinyo, down my hamu body now fight down. Down my food down. Bow by a cool quick double for a guide your town.
Goedenavond. Vanavond praten we met een Pima-Indiaan. Hij komt uit Arizona en we doen dit gesprek in het Engels. Earl, the Pima Indians are from Arizona. Now, that sounds like a rather dry area.
Very dry. We have very little rain, and our monsoon seasons happens in July, but we don't get any rain. It usually falls in southern Arizona, but we do get a lot of humidity during this month. And this month we call rainy moon, Jukabik Mashat.
So, for your people, then rain is an important thing, and water is an important thing.
Yes, very important.
Yeah, I understand that that's one of the struggles that the Pima Indians have is about water rights.
Yes, and you can pretty much examine it from the legends. They tell the prophecies of in the future that the people will be fighting for their water and land, which is very true now. In 1988, President Reagan signed a Water Act settlement between this Salt River Pima-Maricopa Indian community, which I'm a part of, and the United States and the 7 cities surrounding our reservation. And in the agreement, we were supposed to get 3 more times the water that we were given at the time of the settlement, plus $100 million. But to date, none of that.
Are you saying that the American government took your water rights or made some kind of treaty, and you got, you know, the bad end of the treaty?
Yes, yes, we did. We had our tribal attorneys who were non-Indians fraudulently represent us in Congress and finalize this water agreement where we were in the dark about this. Dating back to 300 BC, our ancestors, the river Huhukam, in the Greater Salt River Valley, hand dug using digging sticks and stone holes held in the hand and digging sticks to build and channel hundreds and hundreds of miles of canal.
And that they did really a long, long time ago.
Yes, and these canals are what we directly inherited from our ancestors. And when the early the government workers came in to begin manipulating our water rights away from us. And in June 7th, 1867, was the first water diversion taken out on the Upper Salt River, north of our reservation, and began diverting water away from our people. And that's when we lost our agricultural base in our economy.
So what you say is really that for thousands of years, the Pima Indians lived off the land, and the Salt River provided the water. And
Yes.
then, so in the middle of last century, the white people came. They needed the water. They took part of the stream. They dammed it off or whatever. And now you're left over with an area where there is no water, and there is no water coming in.
Yes, I've been doing 18 years of research, and the way the government has manipulated our water rights away from us is very clear. We have a short history, so when they made these fraudulent maneuvers, it was like telling a lie and telling a different lie to cover up the previous lie, and it gets so entangled. The Bureau of Indian Affairs under the Interior Department is facing huge lawsuits from tribes all over the United States.
Yeah, but these were the people that were supposed to represent the Indians.
Yeah, and it's,
And they haven't.
they never did. Never.
To Amsterdam, people who were interested in what you have to tell about that culture, they can come.
Sure.
And, you're even doing a ceremony on the 11th of August for Ruijkoord.
Yes, we're doing a blessing and honoring ceremony to save Ruijkoord because of the new or the ongoing
Struggle for its existence.
Yeah, this harbor and factories that they have proposed. I think that
there's a similarity in your struggle and the Ruijkoord struggle.
Oh yes, the whole thing is about water. You have too much, we don't have any.
That's one thing. But coming back to truth, because so the truth in the Pima tradition is something that has been transferred orally. There's no document that's really old. The only thing you have are petroglyphs and some probably stones and other stuff that come from the past and that carry a message. But so the truth in your tradition is different from the truth in present-day America, where if it's not written in a contract, it's worth nothing.
Yeah. I'll have to reflect on a consensus that was made by anthropologists and archaeologists, which prompted this linguistics course to happen that I took to learn to read my language, was that anthropologists and archaeologists all firmly agree that the Pima Indians hold the most truthful and accurate oral history than any other native traditions that has been researched so far. And that all of these things that we talk about and we live by, they've been here and still exist, very much a part of our lives, although we may have acculturated and forgot a lot of things. I am now working with scholars such as Mr. Donald Barr, who is going to be the chairman of the board for a nonprofit group that I'm working on.
Yes, because you're trying to set up a foundation.
Yes.
To preserve the heritage really of your people.
Yes, I'm putting primarily a language program to save our language. We are on the endangered languages species in the world. We're looking at about 15 years of survival. There are 60-year-old, about 137 left on my reservation that are fluent speakers. And after they're gone, there's literally no one left at all for that. And so what I'm doing now is I'm looking for sponsors and people foundations, private organizations that may be interested in funding something of this sort.
World. Let's ask a basic question. How do you see God? How do you see...
The average Pima today, and I'll talk about the children, the high school children, they are primarily lost. They are ashamed of who they are. They don't want to learn their language or their culture. It's very baffling.
But what was the traditional notion of A creator.
The Creator, He was what we are, what He made each one of us, and we should be proud of who we are because He gave a little bit of Himself to each and every one of us.
What was the name the Pima Indians used for?
We called him Jivot Makai, Earth Jivot Makai, medicine man or creator. And
so your religion is very much related to the earth?
Yes, we are the sun worshippers of the Southwest. We honor and promote mankind, humanity. As an analogy, I use that to our Mother Earth, the human race are like the central nervous system. Anything we do to ourselves, we do to Mother Earth. We contaminate ourselves, we contaminate Mother Earth. We create these things we call forebodings. What you do will come back to you.
This is really what the people in the East would call karma. What we do, cause and effect. So are you saying that the notion of the Pima Indians is similar to that idea that we...
Oh, sure. We call it synergic. To foresee something that you do right now, you'll have to be aware of what happens in the future, for good or bad. You know, we all have that basic idea, you know, that oneness to live in harmony and peace. But sometimes it's overstressed, or people have the notion that they're not being heard, or their space is being taken up, so they yell a little bit louder and push back. And that's not what you do.
What is your relationship of the Pima people with the animals around you? Are they birds? Are they other animals around you?
Yes, sure. Everything has a spirit. All of these inanimate objects. See, like a spot on there. If it was put on with chalk, what would you say? How is that related to you? We find different ways or concept of the living to share that oneness, to identify with the one that we are living and breathing, or were living and breathing, and still will be.
So your concept of God and oneness and earth is really all the same?
Yes, everything is the same.
Yeah. Now, you use feathers. I see you have some feathers there.
These are my spirit helpers. This is the buzzard. And the buzzard is also a clan leader in my people, for my people.
So the buzzard is one of, say, your holy birds?
Yes. We use the buzzard for curing, and also we have here on the other side an owl feather, which most peoples worldwide consider a bad omen or bad evil spirits. We use them for medicine. We also use them for very, very spiritual rituals, such as naming a baby. Mm-hmm. A medicine man will confirm with the mother and father what the baby's name should be, and then he will verify it. Usually characteristic of the baby. They will take owl feathers, crush it up with white clay, and feed the baby this white clay gruel mixed with owl feathers, and then they name the baby. Mm-hmm. The mother and the father and medicine man also drink this. Yeah.
I understand that, say, eagle's feathers in the States have become illegal?
Oh yes, that's been ongoing. These two are illegal. As a matter of fact, there was an article that came out in the paper of May of '95 that I didn't know about, and when it was the picture, excuse me.
Taking the picture of it?
Was taken in Kentucky, and when I got home in Arizona, it was on the front page.
And it's illegal?
Yeah.
But it's illegal because they try to protect the birds.
Yeah, but we don't abuse that, you know. There are purposes for it. And for me, in the article, for me having these bird feathers, I can go to prison for 1.5 years.
But is there no exemption for like Indian people who have the... I
No.
can understand that they did it to protect, say, the movie companies to use eagle feathers and stuff like that, because that really didn't serve a purpose. But for the purpose of ceremonies, it's a different story.
Yeah, say for instance, our people say like there are certain ritual curers who are singers, and they help the medicine man. I'm a ritual curer. A medicine man can recommend me to do the buzzard songs or the owl songs to bring this person or aid.
You yourself are not a medicine man.
No, I help the medicine man.
You are a person who does ceremonies?
Yeah, I help and do ceremonies. I help and I do them, meaning I can be a helper and I'm also one that performs them. I do funerals, weddings, graduations, birthdays, And also the most important one probably is the coming out for the female, the coming out ceremony when a young girl becomes
a woman.
Yeah.
That's funny because you're a man to do that.
Yeah, yeah, but they don't. You know, the women do the dancing. Actually, we do the singing.
I see.
It's
so
not
there's
easy.
some cooperation.
Yeah, it's not easy either. You know, they both. If you want to be a singer, you got to run a long way and create a good wind, because some of these songs will take all night to sing. You know, and you got to have a long wind for that.
Yeah. One of the things we know here about Indians is that the peyote is sometimes a holy sacrament. Is that with the Pima Indians?
Well, it was earlier in history, looking back shortly after prehistory, the medicine wheel that they call the following of the peyote began down in Mexico, and it traveled down to the southwest around Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, California, and then it moved counterclockwise to the east coast and traveled up through Canada and came back down again, and it's currently very, very strong in the southwest area. And a lot of Pimas have taken up the ceremony, the church, which I myself also am a member. My foster father was a roadman, which is a priest to the Native American church.
Can you tell me something about the use of the peyote in that context of a church, of a ritual, or a ceremony?
Well, it enhances the senses, and there are songs to appease the spirit helpers and bring in good blessings, and we all pray all night until morning, and you really do pray. You can't leave spontaneously when you want to. You got to ask permission. But normally there's a break in the middle, and then they continue and end in the morning. But I know that a lot of people go there for this pleasure of, you know, taking the drug, the peyote. But normally these people come away with bad reactions or emotional
disturbances.
Disturbances, because they're not in tune with their spirit.
So although it's a drug, if it's used in like a ceremony, and you try to be in tune with the earth and the ceremony, what does it give you? It gives you a better contact with yourself and with.
It puts you back in balance with nature, people in general. You know, when you really go in there to do your job for praying, you know, you pray on everything, make your amends, and then carry them out. When you come out, you see that you will make a better difference in your life just by dwelling on your problems and solving them your own way. And exactly this is what this man in the maze thing is all about. It's
that medicine wheel, yeah?
Yeah, it's actually a maze. You can go through it, and it represents your life. And this is when you.
It's a maze you can walk, actually.
Yeah, your life is your path of life. This is what represents your path of life. And every time you come into an obstacle, those are your trials and tribulations. And when you can figure out your own problems and bail yourself out of them, then you will learn and don't do that again.
It's kind of funny that these old traditions always have psychological approaches that we would now call, you know, psychotherapy. But in fact, you've been doing this for as long as people can remember.
Yeah, before videos, you know, they would set the kids down and explain what this maze was all about. We have a set of coyote tales that were little myths that talked about coyote as an old man and the quail as the young children. And he would constantly lie to them and tell them crazy stories and make them believe it. But all along, he'll be doing them to test their intelligence, see how smart they are. And, you know, this is continuous, and this is what I do when I story tell this. I give these example stories, analogies of, say, like this basket. This is actually a basket design.
Yeah, that's one of the things the Pima people have as their cultural heritage is making baskets.
Yes, very, very worldwide known, popular, and they even hold water.
They even hold water?
Yeah, they don't need sap or any kind of
these
waterproof stuff. It just holds. There's it woven so tight. This girl is carrying a basket on her head, which was normally done by the women. They would use these to dance with also in the spring, because the winter months they go inside, weave the basket. Springtime they come out and show off their beautiful basket work, and they would put okatuya blossoms in there.
So it's a practical thing, but it's also an art form.
Yeah, both.
Is that now a way of making money for the Pima Indians to make these baskets?
Yes, there are very few basket weavers in our tribe. Although there are basket weaving classes being held, they are not, there's no continuity to produce better and more skilled basket weavers.
You have a big struggle to go, and you're in Amsterdam to share your thoughts and your teachings, and we'll hope that the Pima Indians will remain what they are, a cultural identity. Thank you.